Welcome back, everybody, to Takedown Wrestling. Here, joined by Eric Olanowski, the newest member of Team Takedown. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, this is brought to you by Nike Wrestling, and you're in the Nike hot seat. You're used to being the guy putting the people in the hot seat. How's it feel to be the other way around for once?
I'm usually not sweating when I go live, and now I'm a little nervous. I feel like we're gonna get into detail with some stuff, so I'm excited.
Well, the biggest question that a lot of people have had for me, and I don't feel like I'm educated enough, or I'm just a wrestling nut here in Iowa, and I don't know the details of Michigan State in and out. There's the obvious, what the scores have been or what the records have been, but Tom Minkle stepping down. What was your initial reaction when you heard the news?
As any Michigan State wrestler, you hear it every year. Coach Tom Minkle's going to step down. When the first place I went was to Takedown to see if this was really true. Is this really true? And it was true. My initial reaction was I was a little shocked, but I was happy that he got out because he gets a lot of heat for not doing so hot. And I don't think people look at his past accomplishments. I think they look at what he just did the previous year. So now, for Coach Minkle's sake, I think it's great that he's going to be able to be remembered for what he did in 25 years as opposed to what he did over one season.
Back in 2006, 2007, when you were thinking about going to Michigan State, what was the biggest attraction to going and wrestling for Minkle?
It was Franklin Gomez. To have the opportunity to work with Franklin Gomez on my recruiting trip. I had a great recruiting trip. Nick Simmons was still up here, so I had the opportunity to train with him before he left for Oregon State. And just coming on the recruiting trip, meeting Franklin. Franklin was, if you know Franklin or if you've ever met him, he's a quiet, really quiet, soft-spoken. He has his head on, and I knew that if I was to go anywhere else, it would be for opposite reasons than what I was looking for, and that was to accomplish the main goal and to be on that stage Saturday night at the NCAA championships. And the best opportunity for myself to be up there on Saturday night was to be working with Franklin Gomez.
Well, were you primarily recruited by Minkle or by Chandler? Because I'm curious, because are recruiting habits or techniques going to change a whole lot with him stepping down and Chandler taking over?
I was mainly recruited by Coach Minkle. Coach Minkle flew out to Virginia Beach and recruited me, came to my house, gave me the pitch. When I got to Michigan State, Chris Williams picked me up from the airport. Chris Williams started 0405, was an All-American, now coaches at Adrian College. But he showed me the ropes around Michigan State. So it was split duties, but I know right now Roger Chandler handles majority of the recruiting, so I don't think anything's going to be different there.
With recruiting, there's all this social media game that goes on and new techniques, ways to attract people to your program. And what Michigan State right now is lacking is it's not really a big name coach. We have a coach in Roger Chandler that knows the system, knows this league very well, but I think he's lacking some facilities. Would you agree?
I would. And I got a two-part answer to that. The thing with the coaching staff, you say he doesn't have a big name coach. You look at the coaches in the past 4 or 5 years. Alex Dolly left for Old Dominion. They bring in Sam Wendland. Sam Wendland, a lot of wrestling people haven't heard of. Will they keep him? Then you have Chris Williams and Anthony Jones both left as well. So I'm curious to see what they'll do there. On the topic of facilities, they don't have their wrestling room it's simple. It's nothing that'll blow you out of the water. You go to University of Michigan. They just built the brand new facility. I mean, the coolest part of it is Gatorade machines. And why would you not want to go to a school that you just walk out, have Gatorade dispensers? Then you have Central Michigan with the brand new facility. You have Alma College, two D3 programs in Alma and Adrian, both with new facilities. They have to get new facilities, and they have to do it soon.
Is this something that they had a good alumni backing to help facilitate these? Is the administration not willing to put up money for facilities? What has been the biggest hindrance from what you know, as a wrestler and now a fan and media guy? What do you know has been hindering them from upgrading these facilities?
the it has been the lack of support from the alum along with the lack of support from the administration, because when it comes down to it, it's Michigan State's two main sports are are football and basketball. The revenue sports, which are at every school, they put their money back in. The basketball arena, the Breslin Center, top notch, one of the best in all of college basketball. Then you have $13 million in the scoreboards that they just put in 2 years ago. I was under the impression that the hockey team won the NCAA title in 2007. 2009, they began talks to build a new facility. The refrigeration system in that facility was completely shot. So what they were going to do is they were going to put wrestling, gymnastics, and women's volleyball all in the old Munn Ice Arena and build a new one. They decided not to do that, so now we had to go back to square one. They updated the men's baseball and women's softball facilities along with the soccer facilities for both men and women. So wrestling has to come. It's just a matter, is it going to be women's gymnastics? Is it going to be the women's volleyball or wrestling first?
Well, I think one thing to think about here is they're keeping Michigan State wrestling. That's a positive. I don't think that was ever in question. And people always ask, how is the support? Where is the money coming from? Because the way that the seasons have gone the last, let's say 5 years, I would like to know what that attendance is on when there's not a big name school in town. So that revenue there has got to be very, very difficult to come by. So we talk about alumni support. You're an alumni, and I'm sure you've received some texts from some people, made some phone calls about the decision. How do they feel about the hire?
I think majority, and I'll speak for my teammates that I wrestled with. I know I got a group message. There was 13 people on that group message. Everyone was happy that Coach Minkle was finally, he's reached his potential where he feels, and now he's moving on. So they were happy for Coach Minkle, and they think that Coach Chandler has the ability to take the program to where it needs to be. 15-75 in the past 10 years is unacceptable. You take Purdue, you take your arch rival U of M, and you take Indiana out of the 15 wins, you only have 8-75. It's unacceptable. Can Coach Chandler take Michigan State wrestling to the next level is the question. The question is how then you go, how does he take them to the next level? What do they have to do?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question mark that a lot of people have, and the media members have been pretty hard on this decision. Was Chandler, did he have not authority to make some decisions as an assistant coach? Was he not able to go after the kids that he wanted to go after? That's what we want to know, is what's going to change now that Minkle is going to go out here.
The thing that has to change, I don't know what's going to change because that's future. What I could tell you what has to change is Michigan State wrestling, if they're going to want to be competitive, and I'll speak just on the Big Ten, because their issues, if you go back to, we'll go 2007. If you go back to 2007, 70% of their guys draw into a #1 seed at the Big Ten championships because they have that 0-9 record going into the Big Ten tournament. Where else do you put them? You have to put them with the 1 seed. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to start by winning matches in the dual meet, and that comes from those 1-point matches. You look at it, if you're wrestling Michigan State, you know for a fact that if you're in a 1-point match, you're going to have the ability to come out on top, because we haven't been known, and when I say we, Michigan State hasn't been known to be those grinders, those go-getters. 6 minutes, 30 seconds, you're down by a takedown. Is a Michigan State wrestler going to get it? Majority of the time, no. Can Roger Chandler take that and change it, turn it into a positive, get that last second takedown when you need it? Because Big Ten, it's all about 1 point matches. Can you win those 1 point matches? That's what separates a good wrestler in the Big Ten from a great wrestler in the Big Ten.
So hiring within, there's lots of coaches out there that have maybe been in a smaller conference that it's just not the Big Ten. The Big Ten is the big stage. That's where the toughest competition is. The MAC is getting up there to being a powerhouse as well. But there's some attractive name coaches out there. I'm curious, do you think that this is something that has been in the works for a while, that they're hiring Chandler for the long haul, or is this something short term where we could see something happen in the next 2 to 3 years at the college head coaching position?
I think that this is a long haul decision. I know from, I wouldn't say speaking directly with Mark Hollis, but people who have spoke with Mark Hollis about this decision, he's excited about this. And what a lot of people don't understand is that Mark Hollis, he knows wrestling. Just because he's allowed this to happen does not mean that it's went unseen. Mark Hollis knows wrestling. He knows people in the wrestling community, and he reached out to people in the wrestling community to make sure that this was a great decision. He just didn't say, hey, Roger's been here for 18 years. We're just going to give it to him because he's given Michigan State 18 years. He made this decision thoughtfully. He went out, he reached out to people in the wrestling community, highly respected people in the wrestling community, and asked them, would this be a good decision? And he got the feedback that he wanted, and that was Roger Chandler is going to be a great coach for Michigan State, and it's going to be for the long haul.
Now, if Chandler, we'll say, if Chandler was out of the picture, what coach do you feel would have been a good fit at Michigan State that's out there right now? Now, we don't know if they would ever leave their position, but what's a couple names that you think would be attractive for an alum to say, hey, wow, we got that guy?
Right. Past coaches, I would say, who left the program, Dave Dean, wrestled at University of Minnesota, first ever All-American for Jay Robinson at U of M. He coached previously at Michigan State. He now helps with Cornell. So could that be a potential down the road? Who knows? I know I wouldn't say old. He's getting up there in age, though. I know that. Then you hear, of course, Brian Smith, University of Missouri, graduated from MSU. Look what he's done for the program at Missouri. Could he do that here? Most people thought that, and I'll tell you what, from just being around the program, people were pushing for him. People were saying, we want Brian Smith to come in and take over this program after seeing what he did. You go back, you have Ellis, both Askrens, Hadashelt this year, and Jaden Cox, national champions. He produces, and he continues to produce year in and year out. He doesn't get the five-star recruits that a lot of people, the main schools get, Penn State, Minnesota. He doesn't get those top tier, but he takes the guys, even if they're 2-3-star recruits, and turns them into five-star talent.
I think that's going to be a key with Chandler here is, can he find those recruits? Because they need a big name like a Gomez for somebody like yourself, a big recruit that sees one of these guys being successful. Because if there's nobody that has been successful in the last 2-3 years on that big stage, can they really develop you into, an All-American, a national champ? Something has to appeal. So I'll be very curious to see with him at the Realm what he can do. And fans, we've been sitting here with Eric Olanowski at Eric Olanowski. Finally changed his Twitter handle to a little more professional handle in the Nike hot seat here. And some big news. You kind of said it before July 4th that you were going to be coming on the Takedown. We're working on some things here now that I've been working with Scott for the last, it feels like it's already been a year. But picking up you and Ross Barczyk to help us out.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. So, you were at another media outlet and you decided to come on a Takedown. We've got some news that is gonna be coming out here down the road that we can announce that Eric is gonna be a part of. But I'm curious. We've talked a little bit over text messages about what you look for the future, and you've always been just somebody that, from what I know, is really passionate about the sport and getting doing the positive things for the sport and not seeing the negative in things. What was your biggest reasoning for coming to Takedown and maybe pursuing your future in broadcasting with Takedown?
The thing that I love is, to me, and I tell people this every day. My dad always said, you can't make money on the couch. And what that does, I don't necessarily mean money as, but you cannot grow as an individual if you don't have people surrounding you that are constantly grinding. And when I see that Takedown, I read grind, because everyone at Takedown continuously works day in and day out. It's about putting content out, it's about putting relevant content out, and it's about staying ahead of the curve. And Takedown has always done that. Continue to stay ahead of the curve, and they've been around for so long. And there's a reason that they've been around for so long, and they continue to evolve. And with evolution, and that's what I was looking for, is to continue to evolve somewhere where I can help them as much as they're going to help me. And I feel that Takedown is that place where I can find a home and to continue to grow.
Well, fans, you can check out everything that we're doing at takedownwrestle.com. It used to be takedownradio.com. You can still go to that address and it'll revert you back. But my biggest thing when I came to Takedown is Scott has been doing the radio for 18 years. 18 years. He's been on actual radio where you have paid advertisers, 30 seconds. It's not just a one long show that you call radio. It's a radio show. And what a lot of people don't know is that he has over 300 television episodes in 52 countries. There's no one else that's doing that. So we're going to continue to build that, and we're going to, wrestling fans and Takedown fans, we are that number is going to be expanding here in the coming months on a big network. So we will drop that news as soon as we possibly can. Eric, I appreciate you being on the show here. You can follow us at Takedown Wrestle, and this is at Eric Olanowski. You've been on the Nike hot seat, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been great.
We'll talk to you soon, buddy.